What's happening, everybody? Tyrone Bowman. Welcome to the program on tonight. This is a different rendition of the program. This is a global news headlines. So I won't be going in depth to these stories. I'm just going to hit it and quit it with the headlines as to what's happening and what's going on in the country and around the world. So we have to prepare for some happenings, and let's get right down to it. For those of you who have subscribed to the channel, thank you for subscribing rather. Appreciate each and every one of you. We're continuing to grow. We're past the 3,000 mark, and with your help, we'll get to 4,000. All right, let's get down to the business on this evening. According to NewJersey.com, New Jersey declares a state of emergency with a pending blizzard blizzard warnings for 17 counties. Up to 20 inches of snow is being forecast to hit these areas. According to Matt Dowling, New Jersey officials declared a state of emergency. Pardon me, let me remove my microphone. New Jersey officials declared a state of emergency Saturday in advance of a major winter storm expected to slam the state with 8 to 20 inches of snow and blizzard conditions. Governor Mickey Sherrill made the declaration effective noon. Wait a minute. Hold on. When was this forecast for? Okay. This is good. I want to be sure I'm reading current news. So Governor Mickey Sherrill made the declaration effective noon Sunday during an afternoon press conference at the New Jersey Transit Station in Maplewood. Quote, "I am urging you to stay off the roads Sunday through Monday," Sherrill said. The heaviest snowfall is expected between Sunday night and Monday morning, end quote. The National Weather Service has expanded blizzard warnings to 17 counties where 10 to 20 inches of snow is expected, along with up to 55 miles per gust. "We're getting a lot of snow and extremely high winds," Sherrill said. "These are very dangerous driving conditions." Several counties that were previously under winter storm warnings were upgraded to blizzard warnings Saturday afternoon. Blizzard warnings were issued to highlight to potential for significant blowing and drifting of snow without whiteout conditions and strong winds during the storm, the Weather Service said. Snowfall rates could exceed 2 inches per hour. Travel should be restricted to emergencies only. Winter storm warnings have been issued across the rest of the state, with snowfall totals of 8 to 18 inches expected and winds up to 40 miles per hour. Total forecast snow accumulations have increased substantially across the board, the Weather Service said in an update early Saturday. The blizzard warnings for Burlington, Camden, Cumberland, Gloucester, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Morris, Ocean, and Somerset counties start at 10 a.m. Sunday morning. The blizzard warnings for Atlantic, Cape May, Bergen, Essex, Hudson, Passaic, and Union counties take effect at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Light precipitation is expected to start late tonight into early Sunday morning and could be mostly rain or a rain and snow mix for areas south of I-78 at the outset. The change to all snow should happen by midday for those counties. The Weather Service said counties north of I-78 will see all snow. Snow will be heaviest on Sunday night and will taper off by Monday afternoon. So as we can see, this could be a very, very serious nor'easter that comes through the New Jersey area. I'm going to look up information regarding Philadelphia and the surrounding counties and find out what's going to happen over there as well. State of emergency declaration do not ban people from the roads or require them to shelter in place. Instead, they allow the state to organize its emergency response and trigger laws to prevent price gouging and more. What's happening, Fred? Welcome to the program. You know, price gouging does go on. You know how greedy people get real quick when something like this happens. So there are current blizzard warnings: Atlantic, and Cape May counties from 1 p.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday. I don't know why people are calling me while I'm in the midst of a broadcast. This is insidious, y'all, and I can't do nothing about it. I gotta wait until this buzzer stops, and then I can silence this. This is real. Some of the stuff I deal with, y'all wouldn't believe it, but it is real. All right, give me a moment, and I think I can silence this. Let me try. Pardon me. I don't even know why this is coming on. Give me a moment, everybody. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. And I try my best not to answer the phone while I'm doing podcasting. Okay, so blizzard warnings are issued for Atlantic and Cape May counties from 1 p.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday. Total snow accumulations between 10 and 18 inches, wind gusting as high as 55 miles per hour. Bergen, Essex, Hudson, Passaic, and Union counties from 1 p.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday. Total snow accumulations between 12 and 18 inches, the highest towards the NYC metro, winds gusting as high as 50 miles per hour. So if you don't have to be on the roads, ladies and gentlemen, please don't do it. Like I came into the studio early this afternoon because in the world of radio, we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The radio station never closes. So I have to be here. I don't have a choice. I may be the only one here. I don't know. Now, concerning Camden, Cumberland, Gloucester, and northwestern Virgin counties from 10 a.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday, the total snow accumulations will be between 14 and 20 inches. Wind gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. Mercer, Middlesex, Morris, and Somerset counties from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday, the total snow accumulations will be between 16 and 20 inches if the weather pattern holds up. There's a possibility it could just turn and go out to sea. We never know. So, Monmouth, Ocean, and southwestern Burlington counties from 10 a.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday, total snow accumulations will be between 12 and 20 inches, wind gustings as high as 55 miles per hour. Down in Salem County, for those of you who are subscribers to my channel and you live in the Salem County area, from 10 a.m. you can expect snow from 10 a.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday. Total snow accumulations will be between 10 and 18 inches. And Hunterdon, Sussex, and Warren counties. It's being issued from 4 a.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Monday, with total accumulations between 8 and 16 inches of snow, with wind gusting as high as 40 miles per hour. So as you can see, there's a lot going on. All right, here's some more headlines for you real quick. This is fresh start information from freshstartinfo.org. Why so many Americans are settling their tax debts before the February deadline. Americans with back taxes may qualify for tax relief in as little as 15 minutes. More Americans who owe back taxes are rushing to settle their tax debts before the February deadline. For many, this is the last chance to reduce or even eliminate their tax debt before facing hefty penalties. When taxpayers fill out our tax relief survey, this is according to the article, they are able to see if they qualify for the IRS Fresh Start program and begin their journey toward tax resolution in minutes. As the deadline approaches at the end of February, a surprising number of Americans are applying for the Fresh Start program, which helps reduce or even completely erase their tax debts. So thanks to last year's budget increase from the BBB, the IRS has been able to approve more applications than ever before. So if you want more information about tax debt relief, go to freshstartinfo.org. That's freshstartinfo.org. Well, it seems like in New York, the city is set to close. When waiting for this feed to come up. I hope the mayor does not mess up in New York City. According to AM New York, the city is set to close last migrant shelters as Mandami seeks to end a crisis-era shelter and Rikers policies. New York City will close its last remaining emergency migrant shelter by the end of the year, according to a plan as the Mandani administration released on Thursday. The effort aims to end crisis-era shelter policies and bring the system back into compliance with right-to-shelter requirements and local laws. The facility, a humanitarian emergency response and relief center, or HERRIC, in the Bronx Mott Haven neighborhood, is the final shelter opening outside the traditional Department of Homeless Services systems. In the face of community opposition, it opened in February 2025 with a capacity for roughly 2,200 single adults and currently houses about 1,900 people, according to the city's 45-day action plan. Under the plan, all residents will be transitioned into standard DHS facilities by the end of calendar year 2026. To close it, the administration plans a phased transition that includes opening several new compliant shelters that were delayed under the previous administration and reallocating capacity with the existing system. As the number of families with children in shelters declines, the city plans to convert some hotel rooms currently used for families into beds for single adult men, timing those moves to minimize disruption. I hope the mayor knows what he's doing. This is a pretty aggressive plan here that he's challenging and undertaking. I don't think the shelter situation in the hotel is a good one. You should come up with a different plan for that one, Mr. Mayor, because you may have some problems putting men in single rooms in hotels. City officials are framing the move as the formal end of the emergency shelter structure built during the height of the migrant influx beginning in 2022. The city opened 258 emergency shelters, including 18 heretics, to house more than 237,000 asylum seekers who sought shelter between 2022 and June 2025. In January 2025, approximately 69 asylum seekers were in the city's care. That number has since declined to roughly 30,000 as of February 2026. Overall, about 88,000 people remain in shelter citywide, according to City Hall. The action plan also sets out how the city intends to restore compliance across the broader shelter system. Local law caps and most single adult shelters at 200 beds. During the peak of the migrant influx, several sites exceeded that limit. The city says it would immediately reduce capacity at sites marginally above 200 beds and bring 3 larger sites into compliance through reductions and relocations by the end of 2027. However, for families with children, the city operates 112 commercial hotel sites serving approximately 11,486 shelter units and housing roughly 8,100 families. Hotels do not fully meet regulatory standards, particularly across to cooking facilities. The city says it will expand compliant family shelter capacity, convert some hotels to permanent shelters where feasible, and pursue census reduction strategies, whatever that means, and including accelerating exits to permanent housing and strengthening prevention and diversion programs to ease statewide measure. All right, we hope this works out for the mayor over in New York City. Well, the U.S. has won the hockey gold. The United States secured Olympic gold on Thursday night with a 2-1 overtime win over Canada. Trailing late, U.S. captain Hillary Knight tied the game with a clutch tip in setting a career Olympic soaring record. Megan Keller delivered the OTGWG in the extra frame, clinching the global or the golden hat trick for Americans in Maine. Kenneth Johnson pleads not guilty. He pled not guilty Friday to murder and attempted murder charges in the fatal shooting of Beech Grove officer Brian Elliott. Johnson appeared in court wearing the fallen officer's handcuffs. Marion's County Prosecutor Ryan Mears said his office is seeking life without parole while still evaluating whether to pursue the death penalty for the Monday night shooting. Wow, that's a lot there, y'all. All right, the Department of Justice seeks to revoke the U.S. citizenship of former North Miami mayor. Well, and who is this? Federal attorneys filed a denaturalization case against Felipe Bain Ami, alleging he represents. Who does he represent? Alleging he represents he misrepresented his identity and immigration history during his naturalization process. The Department of Justice said it is looking to strip a former mayor of North Miami of his U.S. citizenship after he allegedly misrepresented his identity and immigration history during his naturalization process. Federal authorities filed a denaturalization case against Felipe Bain Ami in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida on Wednesday, according to court records. Bain Miami, who was originally from Haiti, and was naturalized in 2006, was elected mayor of North Miami in 2019. He resigned in 2022 to run for a seat on the Miami-Dade County Commission, but lost the election. In a civil complaint reviewed by NBC News and NBC Miami, which first reported the story, the DOJ claims that Bain Ami first entered the United States in 1997 using a fraudulent photo switch passport under the name Jean Philippe Javier. On July 31, 2000, the immigration judge determined he entered the country fraudulently and ordered him removed to Haiti. According to the complaint, he appealed the removal order at the time, but later withdrew the appeal, representing that he had returned to live in Haiti, but federal authorities allege he never went back to Haiti and instead remained in the United States under the name Felipe Bain Ami. Oh, that's a lot right there to take in. So down in let's talk about the man who taught nonviolence to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And this is according to revealnews.org. Bayard Rustin does not get any credit for his contributions to the civil rights movement. So let's talk about this. Al Letson revisits a story about civil rights activist Bayard Rustin that he produced 16 years ago for Black History Month. Back in February 2010, the radio show State of the Reunion, created by Al Leston, produced an award-winning episode looking at civil rights activist Bayard Rustin. The episode was called Who is This Man? Because while Rustin was not well known, his work supported the likes of Martin Luther King Jr. I'm reading from a direct quote. Rustin was a man with a number of seemingly incompatible labels: black, gay, Quaker, identifications that served to earn him as many detractors as admirers. Although he had numerous passions and pursuits, his most transformative act, one that certainly changed the course of American history, was to counsel MLK on the use of nonviolence resistance. Rustin also helped engineer the 1963 March on Washington and frame the Montgomery, Alabama bus boycott. With such lofty achievements, why isn't Rustin considered an icon of both civil rights and humanity? How could a person who changed the course of American history not be a household name? Was he purposefully kept out of the history books? Well, one will never know. Producer John Sunban, and let me see what else this article says. Well, basically, the article ends right there. All right, let's moving right along. All right, now listen to this story, y'all. I want you to listen to what I'm about to read. Or maybe I'll just save this one for global news so I can go deep into the analysis part. I think I will. I'm going to save this one for global news. All right, never mind. I don't want to report that. If you were... Yeah, forget about that one. Let's go back to one more thing before I end this global news segment here. All right, over in New York City, listen up. According to the Gothamist newspaper, a blizzard threatens New York City and NJ with 20 inches of snow. So take it. Let's see, subscribe before you go. All right. And if I use the material, I might as well go ahead and subscribe. What the heck? Can't hurt. All right, there you go. All right, this is according to the Gothamist. Listen to this story. And New Yorkers, listen up. New Yorkers may be done with winter, but winter isn't done with us. Blizzard conditions are now expected as a nor'easter races toward the metropolitan area Sunday and threatens to drop as much as 20 inches in some spots, according to the latest projections from the National Weather Service. Forecasters say snow will begin moving into New York and New Jersey Sunday morning, with conditions deteriorating through the afternoon. Whiteouts and wind gusts topping 60 miles per hour are expected Sunday night into Monday morning. The agency's website warns of dangerous to impossible travel and the risk that storm winds could down tree limbs and cause power outages. Visibilities will be reduced down to a quarter, perhaps as low as an eighth of a mile at times, especially Sunday night into Monday morning. And Jay Engel, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, said. Mayor Sahan Mandani said during a briefing Saturday that snow accumulation could grow to 20 inches. He also cautioned that with daytime temperatures slipping above freezing and overnight lows dropping into the low 20s, sidewalks and streets would be dangerously icy, perhaps even more hazardous conditions than we faced the last time around, quote, end quote. The mayor said, make a decision on in-person instructions at city schools by noon Sunday, but said city agencies are making changes ahead of the storm. We have brought inside mechanical snow clear equipment ahead of the snowfall and unprecedented early activation of this resource, Mandani said. He added that the city is expanding geocoded track of bus stops, crosswalks, and pedestrian ramps, and mandating that a path of at least 4 feet must be cleared across all sidewalks to accommodate wheelchairs. The region has just emerged from a historic storm and grinding stretch of freezing cold that left 24 people dead from exposure. Questions still remain about what the city might have done to better protect its most vulnerable residents. A code blue will go into effect early Saturday evening, meaning homeless outreach efforts will run around the clock with warming buses, hospital bed warming space, and school warming centers opening across the city. So the mayor does not want anybody being out in the streets when this storm hits. Take advantage of the opportunities in New York City, my homeless brothers and sisters, when they offer you a place of shelter. Please say yes for your health and for your safety. The city will also halt homeless encampment sweeps during the storm, Mandani said, as outreach workers focus on getting homeless New Yorkers inside. Following the extended freeze earlier this month, the mayor said the city has learned it needs to have a multiplicity of options that we are putting forward, because the same New Yorker who may be resistant to getting on a warming bus may be willing to get into a health and hospitals warming center. So that's the headlines news here on Tyrone Bowman Live. So it's really going down. Well, coming out of Philadelphia, the National Park Service workers began restoring slavery displays at Philadelphia's President House site on Thursday. The reinstallation follows a federal judge's order and a lawsuit by Mayor Sherrell Parker after the Trump administration removed the exhibits last month. Though the federal government has filed an appeal, of course they're going to file an appeal. The site once again features stories of people enslaved by George Washington. History is history, y'all. And I sincerely mean that all history is history. You know, I'm a student of history. I like to learn about everybody's history. Why? Because I want to be knowledgeable, so that when I'm conversing and when I'm talking to people from different crossroads of life and cultures and ethnicities, that I can relate to them. I want to hear their stories. Your stories are important. Your heritage is important. Your pilgrimages are important to me. You know, even though I'm a black man, I still want to know why men and women have gone through so much horrendous heartache and pain. And I will say this: I've read a lot of things about America's founding leaders or fathers, as they called them. I've read books extensively. I'm not talking about children's books either. I'm talking about deep intellectual, analytical reading. So I've read more than what the average person would probably read about them. History was what it was. It is what it is. There's enough room in America to preserve and talk about everybody's history. By not disrespecting anybody, I think it's unnecessary to remove all the monuments in the nation. Why? If they remove all the monuments for black people, then people be upset. Monuments are there for a reason, and you have to know the story behind the monuments. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody has been perfect in this world. Those who have transitioned before us into eternity, those of us who are alive now, who will one day be off the scene, and those who will come behind us. Nobody is perfect. We must learn to get along and coexist together. And I want to see an America where we have leadership and power, where all people are respected, all cultures are honored, all ethnicities are accepted, and everybody's opinion matters. You know, one America, one people, but it begins with respect. All right, until later on, never surrender, never quit.